time as we explore relationships, inner plane realities, channel light beings, learn from ancient wisdom, and share tools to navigate life with ease and grace. Are you ready to step into your highest potential? Subscribe to Mystery School, your transformation starts.
If you're looking to create more joy, energy, fun, and good health in your parenting, especially if you have a personal or family history of cancer, I invite you to tune into the Intentional Wellness Parenting Show every third Tuesday of each month at 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time with me, Orally Cormier, and Dr. Pat, where we help you to create healing and wellness every living day. We want you to succeed, and this
Are you ready to reclaim joy in your life? Why joy? Why now? Welcome to Joy Rules with me, Lorelei, your joy guru. While the world looks like it's at a breaking point, burnout, stress, isolation, and overwhelm dominate the headlines. Within all this, there's a longing for something deeper, something that heals beyond the mind. Joy fuels health, sparks expansive thought, aligns us spiritually, and connects us to one another. Join me as I weave astrology, intuition, and modern psychology to ignite your soul's highest alignment. Each week I sit down with luminous guests who embody joy as a spiritual path, a creative force, and a way of life. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's dive into the joy. Because when joy rules, transformation becomes inevitable. Hello, my playmates for the soul. This is a really special day. You'll find out why in just a moment. But thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited about my luminous guest in the nest today. But before I bring her on, I'm going to share a couple of cosmic weather highlights for you. And the big one today, which very much speaks to Aileen's chart, is that the planet of shock, surprise, disruption, change, I gotta be me, don't fence me in, is coming to the sun in Gemini. See, the pet's responding. So what that could look like is a disruption of your old reality. Stuff coming out of the blue. You change course on a dime. You have an opportunity, we all do, to let go of limiting patterns, old ways of thinking, outdated ideas. I mean, if there were ever a time to, again, step into this new version of who we are. And for some, it could look like something happens so suddenly that frees that person up to be more of who they are. But that particular thing that happens might not be welcomed in that moment. It's kind of like, oh my God, this just happened. But ultimately, that person is birthing some new part of themselves, which is going to come out as a result of this shock, surprise. This planet is the planet of revolution. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing I want to say, and then I'll bring Aileen on, is we have another 5 to 6 weeks until June 30th of the planet of wisdom and growth and expansion, the planet Jupiter, which has a 12-year cycle, which in last June until this June 30th, Jupiter has been in Cancer. I've talked about this before, but now it's kind of crunch time, and this is what I mean. We're coming down to the last 6 weeks of this yearly cycle that is all about old emotions surfacing, ancestral healing, emotional regulation, right? It's all over the place. You're hearing about emotional regulation or emotional dysregulation. There's wisdom in everything that you feel, but you have to be willing to know what you feel. And then the why comes, etc. But my point is, in this next 6 weeks, it's possible that if you have not learned whatever the opportunity has been for you to learn with Jupiter in Cancer about your own emotional well-being, like what do I need, it may come quickly out of the blue. Like, because sometimes before a planet changes signs, the wisdom comes right at the end of the cycle. So I just want to say that for the next 5 weeks, I would really let it be. I was almost going to wear my All the Feels shirt, like all the feels, whatever they are. Oh my God, I have this feeling of anger. I have this feeling of depression. I have this feeling of joy. It doesn't matter what it is. It's being present to the wisdom of every emotion. So with that said, So this cycle that I talked about the planet of shock and surprise coming to the sun, well, my guest in the nest, Aileen, this is very significant in her chart now. So here is this amazing woman who will be 86 on May 25th and who I've known for a number of years from our church, Unity North Atlanta, and who has always been a firecracker, has always had a message. And so with that, let me bring you on. Aileen, welcome to Joy Rules.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to it,
I'm
Lorelai.
glad you're here. So what I want to start with, because I re-listened or rewatched our connection call, tell me about, because you said in the connection call, you knew exactly where you were in terms of location when Spirit spoke to you, when Spirit spoke the message of one does not, the aging piece, right? So
Right?
what was that message that you got at that time?
It just came from out of the blue, and it felt like the actual experience lasted maybe 10, 15 seconds, but it was a huge life-changing message that Spirit called the greatest fallacy of all mankind. And that is that it's inevitable, unavoidable, and irreversible that we all will decline and deteriorate as we age, even though every cell in our body is replaced every 6 months.
Yeah.
uh, and that it's because it's the one belief other than life and death itself that is shared by the entire human population of planet Earth. And in
Absolutely.
a very powerful way. You hear it everywhere, you see it everywhere, people speak it everywhere. I mean, I try not to let anybody know if I'm having a little difficulty walking or something after 2 knee, because I go, that's what happens when you get old, or you're trying a new skill. Just, I try not to share anything like that because I don't want that feedback.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and again, over the years, the way I think of you, we'd be in the fellowship hall after the service, and you'd come over to me and you'd say, "Well, and Pluto's, conjuncting my moon and the midheaven, and what do you think about this in the first house?" So you and I had so many conversations. And then when you told me on the connection call that way back when you worked as an apartment manager, or that you were like the event coordinator and you brought in an astrologer, which of course would be the kind of counterculture, if you will, certainly at that time. But what I find so interesting, Aileen, is you've always had this radical message, right? Radical. You got Uranus in the first house, radical. So here's the planet of radical in Gemini, in your sign, which means if everybody lives 84 years, this planet of change and, breaking out of a shell, awakening to self will happen for everyone. Well, it's happening for you now. So this message, the ideas that you've always communicated that are sort of counter to popular belief, my point is, it's like the universe has set up the perfect cosmic weather over these next number of, years for you to share that message in whatever way you choose to do that.
Well,
So what would you say? Because I'm going to be 80 next year, so I'm not too far behind you. I can't even believe that. But so what would you say to someone who believes the tradition, you get old, you hurt, you blah, blah, blah. I mean, what would be if you had a minute or two to say to someone who needed a shift in perception, because that's what's happening now, especially in your chart and for all of us, what would you say about that? Like, just flesh that out a little bit more.
well, what I've started to do, because I have found that the resistance is so yes, but yes, but yes, but your telomeres, yes, yeah, till you can't make it. So I'll say, there's a wonderful book that I read that was life changing for me. I actually read it 10 years after this experience, but it's by Deepak Chopra, and it's called Ageless Body, Timeless Mind.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a few teachers on this planet who have had this same realization. And they have qualifications and I don't. So I just let them, and if people aren't open to it, I got real frustrated in the beginning trying, because I was so excited about it and I wanted to share, but the pushback was just too big. So I quit. I would
I
like to
have an
write a book
insight about
about it.
Do you
Huh?
want to hear the insight that I have about what you just said?
Yeah,
The
sure.
pushback, the pushback was your Capricorn moon. In other words, you were seeing the judgment out there of, and look at all the stuff that you moved through in the last couple of years, the knee replacements. I mean, you are such a perfect example, Capricorn being the sign of the mountain goat. Take a step up the mountain, secure your footing. I'm just going to keep on trekking as you do.
Right.
So, but now, it's like what I'm seeing or what I'm feeling for you is because you're getting so clear about what your message has been. And as you said, I'll just live my life the way, and you didn't use this word, but I'll use it, and I'll just be a model for this. And if people want to know more, they'll ask me, right? Isn't
Right.
that what you said to
Right.
me? Yeah.
Right.
But I have a feeling that it's going to be a little bit more like you're going to find yourself taking action, or a small group at Unity or whatever it is, where
Right.
because when you deliver that message, there's this joy in you. And of course, and maybe some people don't, but Gemini, of all the 12 signs in the zodiac, other than Leo, is the most youthful energy. I mean,
Oh,
of
good.
all.
Good.
Um, so when I say to you that you're waking up to parts of yourself,
Goody.
how does that land? Like, how do you answer that?
Hurrah. Um,
But I
it's
mean, when I say that, like, so what are you waking up to? Like, what is brewing in you?
um I'm not quite certain how to answer that. Um I'm sometimes I feel kind of amazed at my life that I'm 86. I have two dogs and a cat. I live in a townhome, so the dogs have to be taken out on a leash 4 times a day. Uh, I do my own housework, my own cooking, my own shopping, my own cleaning, everything.
Your own wallpaper hanging?
Yes, yes, that too. I did pay somebody to paint my interior the last time, this dark green. It looks black on the screen here, but that's the first time I ever did that. Um, but, I find it exciting. And sometimes I think, we have this programming in our subconscious that is not easy to transcend.
Hmm.
My conscious mind is 100% clear about what I was told. But there's this old programming, not just from my own lifetime, but countless generations,
Yeah.
that push against. And when people push against out in the world, that's just an example of what's going on, like you said, within my own self. And so I just tend not to want to go there because I
But
don't want the pushback.
but isn't it interesting the journey that you've had over the last few years when Pluto was in Capricorn? It's like the opportunity to burn off some of that old conditioning, because remember what I said to you on the connection call, having this planet of shock and surprise in such a significant place in your chart. Everyone, you have this planet in your chart. There's a shock when somebody has Uranus in the first house. The part of you that I think you can find a lot of joy in the shock, like because
Oh,
you're
I
still
do.
being in service. But so say a couple of shocking things, assuming there is no pushback. In this moment, there's no pushback.
Right. Well, I didn't come prepared. This may surprise people. This is a very exciting time in my life. But every once in a while, I have this moment of fear come up, like, will I be able to continue? Because I look around and there's nobody in my crowd. I
In your
don't have
cohort.
I don't have traveling companions. This is on me. I've outlived all my family and all of my lifelong friends, the deep, true, lifelong friends that you have. So I'm kind of starting over in a lot of different ways. And the only thing is I can come up with is I'm prepared to do it. I'm willing to do it. We'll just see because somebody has to set the example of the possibility of it
Mhm.
to inspire other people. So I guess if I would ask for anything is if I could just inspire one other person to drop that belief and to live a great life up into their 80s and their 90s or what, who knows beyond what. I used to be in a spiritual group that met on the phone once a week, and it was live to be 120 and healthy and live to be 120 and healthy. And that group has long ago, dissolved. But I think that is, we're created in the image and likeness of God, for heaven's sake.
Yes.
Um, so I believe that that is possible for us, not, and that's what I want to get for people to get is it's possible for us, not it's possible for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible for us. If I
So
could,
what would be a first step for someone who's open to the idea, to what you're saying, but is still pretty much stuck in a traditional, but they're feeling like they have the possibility to shift that. Like what would be a baby step? What would be a
well,
baby step you would give?
like I said, what I would tell anybody is to start with that book by
Oh,
Deepak Chopra, Ageless Body, Timeless Mind. I mean, he is an MD. He has all of the Eastern trainings as a healer. He's a spiritual counselor and guide. Uh, he's a highly educated man and known worldwide. And if people would listen to anybody, I think it would be him. And if they're not ready to be him, that's fine. Go enjoy your life. Don't worry about it. But there are people that are hungry for that knowledge and would benefit from it.
but like what's one idea from that book that you remember? Like just one.
Well, because he is writing, and it's been a long while, so I don't have any words on the tip of my tongue. But where he is literally saying that um, we're living a lie,
Mm,
that we believe there's nothing we can do about it and it's inevitable. And by your belief it is done to you.
yes.
Our beliefs are very powerful, and that's what it comes down to, is our beliefs are dictating our experience and changing these deeply programmed beliefs. I don't look like when I was 50 years old much as I would like to. I'm doing very well to be 86 come Monday, but I'm not where I would like to be. But I look around and I'm kind of in a class by myself. There's no companions on this trip right now. And I would love to have some companions.
Well, and we talked about that and that being very much of a possibility. But as you say that, I think it's really time to really own the warrior in you. I mean, you have the sun in the first house. That's a leader. That's a leader, whether it's a leader in thought. And it's so interesting we're talking about this. It's like busting the old beliefs, because that's exactly what this Uranian cycle is about for all of us. It's busting the old. It's like, oh my God, I just got a new thought about that thing that I've always thought in this particular way. So, and as I said to you, because my thing now for everybody is whatever we're doing and going, if it doesn't bring us joy, don't do it. But the
Right.
joy that I experience from you when you are speaking your truth in almost in that way that you do, that you know what you're talking about, and it's aggressive. I mean, first house, your planet of communications in the first house, for Pete's sake. So with this cycle, this whole waking up to parts of you, and as we talked about, the unconscious programming, well, that's Pluto, the planet of transformation and evolution, and that planet now is in harmony with your essence and with
Right.
so the death and rebirth, that we
Right.
would talk about every other time in the fellowship over a number of years, and you'd go, and Pluto's still this, and Pluto, my moon, and we would talk about that. Well, you're out of that now.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
do
you died to the old of whatever those things were.
I do feel like that I'm in that process of rebirth
Yes.
and renewal, but you don't know how these things work when you've never lived it, and you don't know anybody else who has either. But rebirth isn't like human physical birth. The baby's not here and then it gives its first cry. It's fully here. Rebirth in this kind of issue, of reprogramming, awakening of our consciousness and overhauling our belief system is a process that doesn't happen overnight.
No. But even now, as you speak about it, you are so articulate, you are so sure. And son in the first house, you're supposed to be a pioneer. So when you say, there's not a lot of people around, but again, Gemini being as youthful as it is, and Uranus would say you could have friends that are 20, and you could have friends that are 95 or 100, and everything in between.
That I tell people very often, please don't restrict me to thinking, if I say something like I'd like to meet some new people, please don't restrict me to people that are my own age. Most of them I want to run from, because there's negative stuff about aging. I'd love to be friends with teenagers, with people in their 30s, their 20s, because I'm flexible enough, I'm not stuck in being a little old lady.
You're my model. You're my model. No, but again, that is what I just said, and you just confirmed it. It really is that, because Gemini has such a youthful spirit, and curiosity is which is such a Geminian trait, to be curious. Well, the curious mind is a childlike mind.
I've had problems with my computer getting hacked because I'm always looking for new information on Google and what have you. But I did want to mention one of the things that I've come across just recently that has been life-changing and so beneficial for me is the discovery of homeopathic remedies for things like 5 little pellets that you put under your tongue and you go to sleep in 15 minutes at night when you can't sleep. For incontinence, for anxiety, for having the hives. There's so many things, and they're very affordable. They don't interact or conflict with other medications that you're taking. So if anybody's got any needs like that, I would suggest they go on Amazon and just go homeopathic remedies and type in, sleeplessness or incontinence, and it'll come right up. And the most expensive one I think I've ever come across was $12.99. Most of them are under $10. And that has been life-changing for me. I'm so grateful for that. So I just wanted to share that for anybody who's looking.
Yeah, and that's again waking up to new information. I mean, homeopathic's been around for a while, but a lot of people don't know anything about it. Most people don't.
I didn't know anything about it until I got all of my, because all of my teeth had been crowned, and then the base of the teeth had decayed under the crowns, and so I had to have them all pulled. And now I have full permanent implants that stay in. I go in once a year, and they take them out and clean them, put them back in. And the rest of the time, I brush my teeth and use a water pick just like anybody else would. But what was I going to say? Shucks, I lost it.
Now, I have never known you to forget what you want to say.
That's how I discovered the homeopathic remedies. My friend who took me to, because you have to be knocked out to get all your teeth pulled and whatever. And she said, on the way home, she said, there's something that you could use, because most of the people turn black from here to here, from bruising from when their teeth. She said we could stop up here at Whole Foods and get something called arnica. That's a cream that you can put on, and your bruising you'll hardly bruise at all. And that is how I was introduced to it. But that's the only topical that I've ever known about through the homeopathic remedies. But when I would go into the clinic, they'd go, "You don't have any bruising at all. What are you doing?" And they had never heard of the homeopathic. So that was my beginning. But I'm constantly researching on Google. And I had my first counseling session with AI the other day.
Did you? What did you ask them?
I asked about, I've never recovered my full natural gait when I walk, since I had both those knee replacements and what have you. And I asked about it. And I'll send you the information, because they didn't talk to me. And I was amazed. they would say, "Is there anything else?" And I would type in my question, and here it would come, and I was thrilled with the information that I got.
I kn- well, like I told you on our connection call, I got my co-pilot, which I named Ollie for my dog, when the sun went into Libra last fall, because I knew I was going to have a relationship with this information, whatever it is. And for me, it's like a wise, trusted friend who knows me and has my best interest at heart, and that's what I'm holding. So I'm thrilled. Oh my God, you're going to have a Gemini like palooza with
Well,
AI.
and how I triggered it is I clicked on a link that said Mayo Clinic. And then probably I had scrolled down and clicked on something underneath that. I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing until it started answering me with all this precise and exact information to my question, like it had been stored up waiting for me to ask.
Yes.
I was just stupefied, astonished. So I was really thrilled with that.
And
That was just
There's
last
Uranus
Saturday.
coming to your, sorry, I'm sorry.
That was probably last Saturday.
Yeah. So this whole Uranian energy, so a whole new source of information for you, which, I've always called Gemini the information junkie of the zodiac. I mean, Gemini is, knows a little bit about a lot of stuff.
I must ask Google questions at least 2 or 3 times a day.
Well, and the curiosity too, the questioning. So here's my last question to you. So when we talked, and I remember I shared with you that as you've evolved in this lifetime, a lot of your energies have evolved into Leo, including the ascendant. So when I say to you that you have this opportunity probably for more joy in your life now, given what's going on in your chart, than you ever have, how does that land? And how would you respond to that? Like, like, how do you feel about that?
That sounds thrilling. The number one thing that I would ask for if I could just write Santa a letter,
Mm,
what is I would like to build new friendships with people who are available, who have time to be in a relationship, to go to lunch or make a phone call or have dinner together. Or I've even thought, I've got a bedroom with its own private bath. I thought about, having a roommate or something. But I would ask to have all, because I had wonderful, wonderful lifelong friends
and they're all
that have
gone.
now departed. And it's hard. I thought, how did I make friends? In school and on a job.
Yeah.
And I'm not in school and I don't have a job. And in the brief time that we pass each other at Unity, it's harder to
Yeah.
connect really deeply and what have you. So that would be, to find a solution for that. I am registered down at the senior center here, but so many people are so conservative in their thinking that I just want to grab one cheek of my butt in each hand and run.
But see, you're open to all of this now. So I think this is all going to come in very quickly because you said it on the connection call about roommate, possibly group, friendship, whatever. And now whoever watches or listens to this is going to hear your declaration. So you're going to have people holding the energy for you. So
Yeah, and if
we have
they're not
about
a little old lady, tell them don't let that back them off.
Well, since I now know that my criteria for a guest on Joy Rules, as I told you, is somebody who's up to something, who's alive, it has nothing to do with resume or any of this, you fit that criteria. So we have about a minute. So what would be your parting words to the audience about anything we've talked about?
This is so strange. What just was in my mind before you said that was a song from a movie years ago. Fairy tales can come
Can come
true.
true
It can happen to you if
if
you're
you're
young
young
at
at
heart.
heart. I have that on my playlist. I love that song. I grew up to that song. I used to run around my parents' bedroom singing that song, picking up lots of forget-me-nots.
I've
Well,
forgotten most of the words, but it was so interesting that just before you said that, that's what was in my mind.
I love it. I love it. Eileen, I love you. Thank you so much for your time, your treasures, your insights, and I'll see you Sunday. And
I
for
love you,
all of you out
Laureline.
there, I wish you blue skies, green lights, and always lucky, lucky, lucky stars. Thank you for listening to Joy Rules with me, Lorelei Robbins, your joy guru. If this episode sparked something in you, don't keep joy to yourself. Share and spread the light. Tune in the second and fourth Friday of the month at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on Transformation Talk, where together we reclaim joy as the foundation for transformation. To dive deeper, visit me at joyrules.com. And remember, joy isn't optional, it's essential. And visit joyrules.com for lots more joy. Until next time, keep choosing joy and join the joy revolution. And until we connect, I wish you blue skies, green lights, and lucky stars.